If somebody had told me that it was over 2 years, I would have, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, you know?
A truck full of about 15 armed men was waiting for us on the side of the road. And it pulled up to us and aimed a cannon through the windshield. These guys got off the truck, opened up my side of the door, and dragged me out. And then I was a hostage. I think I knew from the first minute that it was going to be a huge burden. The problem is that the people you talk to on the phone are not necessarily rational. So it doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere.
I mean, even in 2-3 lifetimes, I wouldn't be able to reach demands or to meet demands of 20 million or more. How is this possible? How is this just humanly possible? Sometimes I think about the first week or so, and it's still kind of a blur because you wander around, you just go from room to room, and you just don't know how to deal with it.
I didn't know how to find Jim. I didn't know how to bring him home. I had no idea.
So I'm essentially a staff reporter at this, very well-known news organization. They couldn't do anything to get me out. The New York Times doesn't have $25 million in ransom. The New York Times can't release 15 prisoners from Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And the sad thing that's happened in the 7 years since I was abducted is that the demands have got even higher.
And within those first 48 hours, I received a call, our family received a call from the DOD. Would we approve a raid if they knew where David and his colleagues were? I was told, there might be a day when I receive a phone call where he's screaming in the background, or they might call me and be demanding, prisoners or money, and they may have already killed him. Every conversation we had was life and death, and trying to save somebody's life or trying to help in a dire situation.
Especially the longer it went on, I wondered whether I would ever see, some of the beautiful corners of California again. Whether I would see my family again. I mean, I began to doubt all that by the end.
The kidnappers, gave Kristen and my family and my editors the sense that they could easily save my life. So it creates this false sense in the family that they can save their loved one when in fact they can't. And it's not just a crime against an individual, it's a crime against the sort of whole family, against the whole friends, against the whole organization, against the whole profession as a journalist.
No story is worth your life. That's just a hard and fast rule. And almost no story is worth getting kidnapped for. In fact, I can't think of one that is.
As a mother of a journalist who lost his life doing this important work, I would ask any of you who love a journalist to insist on having a difficult discussion. Jim had been kidnapped twice, so I am particularly embarrassed about how much in denial I was about the danger Jim was going into. Why didn't I insist on it? That's how hard it is, though. We didn't want to think about the worst.
And now there's more kidnappings, and the lengths of kidnappings have gone, longer and longer and longer. Now it's years and years.
There were red lines that I set for myself, and a few of those I crossed. I went shopping for insurance, and when I got rejected shortly beforehand, I should have just called off the trip. That was one red line.
If you're going to go into a dangerous assignment, you need to have a conversation with your family. What will they do? What do you want them to do if you die? What do you want them to do if you're kidnapped? What do you want them to do if you're badly injured? How are they going to get you out of there? What if you're disabled?
I wish I had initiated the difficult discussion, or that Jim had left a folder with his passwords, with his last wishes, with his power of attorney. Because when Jim was kidnapped, we had none of it. We were not able to access his phone or his email. We didn't know what he wanted. We didn't know what insurance he had. It was appalling. We just had nothing.
There is no longer really a neutrality to the press, unfortunately, in particular if you're American. So you need to be aware that you will be vulnerable. You need to really vet the sources you're going to be working with on the ground.
And you also have to have that conversation with your editors. And many freelancers are afraid of bringing it up, but good editors are going to respect you and trust you because you bring up those awkward conversations.
They need your help in that regard, because the work you do is vitally important to our democracy, but it's very dangerous today in the